Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. Depending where you are in the world, we are doing the nighttime devotion from the devotional Maranatha. The title today, Persecuted for Christ's sake. 2 Timothy 3:12. All that will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. As Christ was hated without cause, so will his people be hated because they're obedient to the commandments of God. If he who was pure, holy, and undefiled, who did good and only good in our world, was treated as a base criminal and condemned to death, his disciples must expect similar treatment, however faultless may be their life and blameless their character. Human enactments, laws manufactured by satanic agencies under a plea of goodness and restriction of evil, will be exalted, while God's holy commandments are despised and trampled underfoot. All who prove their loyalty by obedience to the law of Jehovah must be prepared to be arrested, to be brought before council that have not for their standard the high and holy law of God. Those who live during the last days of this earth's history will know what it means to be persecuted for the truth's sake. In the courts, injustice will prevail. The judges will refuse to listen to the reasons of those who are loyal to the commandments of God because they know what arguments in favor because they know that arguments in favor of the fourth commandment are unanswerable. They'll say, we have a law, and by our law, he ought to die. God's law is nothing to them. Our law with them is supreme. Those who respect the human law will be favored, but those who will not bow to the idol Sabbath will have no favors shown them. There's a noticeable difference between evergreens and other trees. But when the blasts of winter come, the evergreens remain unchanged, while other trees are stripped of their foliage. So the false-hearted professor may not now be distinguished from the real Christian. But the time that will be upon us when the difference will be apparent. Oppositions will arise, bigotry, intolerance will bear sway, persecution will be kindled, and the half-hearted hypocritical will waver and yield their faith. But the true Christian, like the evergreen, will stand firm and strong. Strong faith, hope brighter than in the days of prosperity. The title again, Persecuted for Christ's sake. And as has been said many times before, if you choose the path of walking that Christ has trodden, if you choose that same path, going that straight way, Straight, you are opening yourself up to criticism, persecution. But heaven will be shining down on you. Not to stop you if it be his will, getting persecuted or killed, but that's just put to sleep. Much like when Stephen was stoned, he didn't suffer. He had his eyes fixed on heaven. Now, the key thing here which I'm sure you will remember in the Bible. Those who live during the last days of Earth's history will know what it means to be persecuted for the truth's sake. The judges will refuse to listen to your reasons. They'll only be going by man's laws. But this is where a passage in the Bible sprung to mind when I read this. When you choose or you refuse to bow down to the laws of man, you will be suffering thereafter. Just as the 3 Hebrew boys refused to bow down to the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, and they were flung into the furnace. Now that is, much like Daniel in the lion's den, that is the epitome of what Christian faith is. Faith in God. They didn't run, they didn't hide, they stood firm. We need to stand firm on the promises of God, on the laws of God, and be ready to say, it is written. Because it is written.